cracking, everybody? So I'm at work, as you can see, back at work, back in the grind. I just saw a video by American Cholos. I guess he made it almost an hour ago, and in my personal opinion, it's the best video that he did as far as speaking. Not an interview, just speaking. And you know, it's one of those videos that a lot of the guys that come on my channel and say why they don't dig Gil, that's the kind of video. And when I see that video, I respect an opinion, but Gil's got the balls to say how he feels. And if you can't respect that, I don't get it, man. Like, there's people that feel a certain way but don't have the balls to say it. And Gil's not telling anybody to go and do these things that you guys say, you know, that some people say. Anyways, I really like that video, man, and hopefully you guys check it out and see. It's really good. It was really, you know, our horizons need to change, and that's what he's saying. You know, see farther than the neighborhood. Let me give you a little story. When I was in New Folsom in '95, I remember this shit clear, man. My road dog, Muggsy, we're like brothers, eh? And he didn't go to YA. His mom, who was a homegirl, she kept an eye on him, and every time he would get like close to fucking up, she would send him to his dad. And his dad used to live in Northern California, so he would send him up that way. She would send him up that way. Anyways, so when I had got out of YA, he wanted to join the military, and he wanted me to join with them. And I was like, I'm good, fool. I just fucking got out. I'm not trying to write letters. You know, have my old lady write letters, my ex-old lady, my daughter's mom, right? I'm not trying to put her in a position where she has to write letters again. And she was like, hell nah. Well, anyways, so you guys already know I was only out a few months, and I caught a hot one. And so I go to the, I'm in the county a year and a half. I'm fighting my shit. I go to the pen. I fucking, I get a letter one day, and he had joined. I remember while I was in the county fighting my case, his family put a thing in the newspaper congratulating him on getting into the service or whatever. And I get a letter one day, and it's from him. And I'm happy. I'm like, oh yeah, my homeboy, this is my dog, this is like my brother right here. So I get on my rack, and my celly's on his bunk, and I'm reading the letter. And the more I'm reading it, the fucking madder I was getting. And his letter, he had tried to get into the Marines, but because he had a car accident he had got into, had messed his back up and his knees, they sent him to the Navy. And he wrote me, and his letter was basically saying that he had only been in the service for 9 months, and he had already been around the world, and he had seen all this shit. And he's telling me in the letter, homie, the world is so much bigger than the barrio. I never knew that. And it made me mad, eh? Exactly to Gil's point. I was like, fuck this motherfucker. When the fuck is he gonna write me some shit like this? And I'm in here. Well, that's probably the love he had for me. That's the kind of letter he thought I needed to hear. And not only that, his brain was changing, you know. Unfortunately, he got out of the service and, you know, got back in the streets. But it just goes to what Gil was saying. I was fucking hot. when this man was telling me how the world is so much bigger than just the neighborhood. Now, another thing that Gil had said, and it's true, back when we went through YA in my opinion, it was a fucking experiment that they did on us, you know, because it did create, like in the pen, a lot of you guys that have been to the joint heard of it, you know, vatos will come to the joint and they'll say, oh, that vato still has that YA mentality. YA mentality was, you were the baddest motherfucker, period. And so when we got out of YA, we went back into our neighborhoods, and there was no doubt about it, we were the hardest motherfucker alive, and nobody could prove us otherwise. We were gonna do whatever we had to do. And so that's why so many of us, when we got out, and the majority of us is within 6 months, we either caught a murder or got killed. There's very few success stories. And that's what impresses me so much about Gil. You know, I clown him about his scars, but this motherfucking fat bastard be floating around in a pool. Come on now. And here I am working a gazillion hours just to pay my bills. And that vato was able to turn his life around at that age, when it was still a time where they were shooting and, you know, it was still wild. And he was able to see things that were more important. And it reminds me also of a time, again in New Folsom. There was an older vato on the yard, very, very, very respected individual. And he was a big ass dude, big ass broadchine. People used to say he was a grouch, and you guys already get a little taste of my personality. I used to be on that fool. That fool didn't want to laugh because, you know, he wanted to look like he's hard all the time, and I'd be on him. And so one day he was sitting off to the side, and I went over to him, and I'm kicking it with him, and he was just people watching, you know, just scoping the yard. And and I said, hey, what are you doing, eh? Why are you right here? What are you doing? And I think I might even said this once in another video that I took down. But he was looking around, and he was like, you know what don't take a man to survive in prison? And I was like blown away. I was like, what the fuck is this fool talking about? This is a vato that, you know, his voice was heard around there, you know, and he's telling me it don't take a man to survive in prison. And so I asked him, I said, what are you talking about, huh? And he said, before it was different. Remember, this is 1995, when shit still was fucking, and he was, before it was different, eh? He said, there was only a few joints, because he had started in the 70s. He said, now, you don't have to be a man to be in prison. If you're a killer, they got a place for you. If you're a gangster, they got a place for you. If you're a punk, they got a place for you. They have a place for everyone in prison now. And I'm just listening to him, and I'm like, what the fuck is this vato talking about, right? And he goes on and he tells me, you know, the real men, they're out there on the streets. They're taking care of their families. They're taking care of the things that they're supposed to take care of. But for whatever reason, we can't do it. He said, I don't know why, but we just can't do it. We could do this shit all day, but we can't do that. And I never forgot that fucking conversation. I thought he was crazy, cause, you know, when I walked away from him, I was like, this old motherfucker's crazy right here. But all these years later, man, I remember, and I hope that vato has finally figured it out. You know, I hope that he's found happiness and peace in his heart. And so when I heard Gil's video today, I was like, you know what? That's a few minutes ago. I was like, you know what? Let me piggyback on that, because Gil ain't lying about what he's saying, how, you know, he and I were on the same path like this. Here's Gil and here's me. Gil started going up and I just kept going down. I was degenerating, you know. And it got to where Gil was living life and I was just existing. Luckily, I'm at a point now where I'm living life and I'm trying to live every minute of it. Even when I get fucking pissed off, I try to look for the positive as soon as I cool down and appreciate even that fucked up part that pissed me off. You know, we gotta appreciate everything, man. But anyways, I just wanted to put a little video together and acknowledge that. And I know people are gonna say we act like we're fucking boyfriends, and you know, that's petty bullshit, man. Shout out to JD, appreciate the shout out you gave me. We need to get these, we need to start, everybody needs to start, I think, helping each other out however we can, sending viewers to each other, and let's get this, some more momentum, man, to all these channels. And let's try to affect more change in our communities, because the politicians ain't gonna do it. And for some of us, like, you know, if you're a youngster and you know you maybe, you know, your parents are in a way where they're just not able to, through addiction or incarceration or whatever, and maybe one of these channels will hit you in the heart and get you to not emulate us 100%, but take a little bit from here and a little bit from there, man, and just realize it is possible. It is possible to get a job, a fucking convicted murderer, fought the death penalty, and I work, and I have to work because it's very hard out here, man. You know, anybody tells you otherwise is bullshitting you. The reality is this shit is hard. What we do in the streets is easy, man. It's easy as fuck, but it carries a long ass tail, you know. And we gotta break that cycle, man. It's time for us to break those chains and start buying back our old neighborhoods and beautifying them our way. All right, I'm out.